It's Monday. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. You're watching the 9 at Night. I'm Stephania Jimenez. At the top, one student is dead. Another is recovering after a shooting at a high school near Dallas. Police say it happened at Lamar High School, which is in Arlington. The shooter is also believed to be a student, and that person is in custody. This happened just before 7 o'clock this morning, about 40 minutes before classes were set to begin. That school went into lockdown, and parents and guardians were reunited with their students before 11 o'clock this morning. Investigators say at this point they do have the weapon that was used. Right now, they're trying to figure out, however, why the student opened fire. So that brings us back home, because schools in South Texas and San Antonio are also trying to figure out how to keep students and their staff safe. After all, we've also seen gun violence here. Last month, there were several instances where Northside ISD students were found in schools with guns. There was also an off-campus shooting that ended another student's life. And now the Bexar County Sheriff's Office is doing something to protect students. Our RJ Marquez explains.
Going into something like spring break, 2 days consecutive, you catch young suspects with guns. It just says, you know what, we need to step things up.
That's the concern from the Sheriff's Office after a string of incidents in the past 2 months involving guns near Brennan High School.
A couple of weeks ago, we saw a shooting involving the death of a Brennan High School student. This past weekend, we saw a shooting involving a Southwest High School student.
The Brennan student who died was 15 years old. 19-year-old Jose Medina was arrested in the student's death. The Sheriff's Office believed Medina was talking to the victim about selling THC-filled cartridges. Sheriff Salazar said they are seeing many similarities with these cases.
The common thread there seems to be drug deals gone bad. Vape cartridges really are at the forefront of a couple of shootings that we've seen as of late.
In response to the increased patrols, Southwest ISD sent a letter to parents assuring them they have not seen an uptick in guns or criminal activities on their campuses, but they are aware of issues with vaping.
Recently, the Sheriff's Office made us aware that some of the issues they're having out in neighborhoods are due to low-level vaping. So fortunately for us, we were already educating our communities. This is mainly for the Sheriff's Office to work in our neighborhoods, identifying issues in the neighborhoods.
Salazar said the increased presence in these areas will continue throughout the school year with a focus on trying to prevent gun violence.
And that's our RJ Marquez reporting. By the way, Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar says that he's meeting with superintendents at Northside ISD and also in Southwest Bexar County this week to discuss their district's needs. The Sheriff's Office is also going to hold public forums at both districts in the coming days. And the BCSO has also created an anonymous tip line if anybody wants to report any criminal activity in or near schools. Now, staying on the topic of schools, the Uvalde CISD has a new police chief. It's the same person who's been doing that job since last year. And now Joshua Gutierrez is going to go from interim to official police chief. A spokesperson for the Uvalde CISD confirmed the news today. The school board unanimously approved Gutierrez back in November of 2022. Here at KSAT, we did an exclusive interview with him back in December. The previous police chief was Pete Arredondo. If you remember, he came under heavy scrutiny for how law enforcement handled the mass shooting at Robb Elementary. Arredondo was fired back in August. Now we're going to go outside. After a cold weekend, yes, friends, we are warming up. Meteorologist Adam Caskey has your forecast.
Our warming trend begins tomorrow. 56 in the morning. By the afternoon, we're back to 70 degrees, but it's going to be fairly gray and drizzly off and on throughout the day. Drizzle and sprinkles in the morning through the noon hour, even early afternoon, and then tapering off a little bit later on in the day. And that's going to be the case every morning, Wednesday, Thursday, even on into Friday morning. But Friday morning, actually the chance of real rain, some showers and thunderstorms with a weak cold front that moves in. 80 degrees the high temperature by Wednesday. That's going to be the case all the way through the weekend.
Now, right now, we are working to learn the names of 3 people found dead inside of a Northside apartment. We know that the victims are a man in his 40s, a woman in her late 30s, and a little girl under the age of 10. Now, let's show you the scene earlier this morning over at the Winding Creek Apartments on Northwest Military Highway near Wurzbach Parkway. Police tell us that family members hadn't heard from the people who live there since Saturday, so they called police to do a welfare check. And after first responders forced their way into the apartment, that's when they found the bodies.
Preliminary information at this time indicates that the male in his early 40s shot the female victim as well as the child and then turned the gun on himself.
Tragic. Police are calling this a murder-suicide, a domestic situation turning deadly. Right now, investigators are looking into whether that family had ever reported domestic violence issues to police. Right now, we're also working to learn the name of the man who died in a motorcycle crash this morning. Happened around 8 at the corner of South Flores and Casiano Streets. Here's what we know. A 20-year-old man was killed after he was hit by the driver of a pickup truck. A witness told investigators the driver of the truck was stopped on South Flores waiting to turn onto Casiano Street. The motorcyclist was speeding and the other driver turned right in front of him, causing the motorcyclist to lose control, and he died at the scene. Tonight, San Antonio police need your help. They're looking for the person who killed a man late last year. The victim in this case is Daryl Bergeron. The 60-year-old was killed in a hit and run back on December 26th. Happened along Buena Vista near the Alasan Creek. At the time, Bergeron was not using a crosswalk, and someone in a silver truck hit him and then just kept going. SAPD says that if they find that person, they face a charge of failure to stop and render aid, resulting in death. So if you know anything, call Crime Stoppers. The number is 210-224-STOP. By the way, if you give them any information that leads to an arrest, you could get a $5,000 reward. About a month after a dump truck wrecked a pedestrian bridge on Castroville Road, the area has a new temporary crosswalk. The city actually put this together to help people safely cross that busy street until the city rebuilds the Pedro Romero pedestrian bridge. Pedestrians are the ones who now activate the new signal crossing. It has flashing yellow and red lights to alert drivers when they need to stop or slow down. A former office manager facing 10 years in prison for stealing more than $300,000 from a nursing home in San Antonio. That's according to the Texas Attorney General's office. Robin Nicole Calica pleaded guilty to 1 count of theft. She worked at the Heights on Hebner in San Antonio. She was also ordered to pay thousands of dollars in restitution to the nursing home and also to the families of the victims. Now, before we go, I just wanted to ask you a question. How are you feeling? Because a lot of people have been feeling out of it because of daylight saving time. We lost an hour, and for many of us, me included, it's still messing with our sleep. But if you want help getting back on track, 12 on Your Side's Marilyn Moritz shares how to get a better night's rest, and also she talks about the products that can help you get there.
If only you could buy a better night's sleep. There are a lot of products, but where do you start?
You want a supportive mattress and a pillow. Those are a must. We've also found that where you sleep, so your sleep environment, plays a big role in the quality of your sleep.
Your environment plays a big part in your sleep quality. Some people need silence, but others like background noise to snooze by. If you want to try a white noise machine, Consumer Reports found this Magic Stream is inexpensive, easy to use, and has a bunch of sounds.
If you have a fan, you can reap some of the same benefits of a white noise machine without having to spend the extra money.
Another sleep splurge, a mattress topper. Consumer Reports looked at softness and heat retention because some people sleep hot. This linen spa topper was the coolest they tested. But
even the comfiest topper can't completely fix a mattress that needs to be replaced. So just keep that in mind before you spend any money.
Need a mattress? CR found some good ones that cost less than $1,000, like this inner spring from Denver Mattress. If you prefer firmer, they like this Sleep On Latex. Both support back and side sleepers of different sizes. I know this sounds chilly, but studies show that setting your thermostat at 65 degrees at night makes for the ideal sleep temperature. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
That does sound kind of cold, but listen, if the experts say that that's what you need, maybe we should try it. Well, we're out of time. The 9 at Night returns tomorrow. Have a beautiful night. We'll see you then.